Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. I believe it's a beautiful day and we are going to have an awesome time together. And as usual, it's serious business here. So we encourage you to be a part. If you want to join the discussion, you can hit us up and we would be able to get you into the discussion. As usual, creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So educate yourself, expose your mind to information, and you would be able to create and invent. On this platform, we don't entertain insults. On this platform, we discuss, we don't argue. If you have a dissenting opinion, table it respectfully, and we'll be more than happy to chat or chop it up so we can all learn and unlearn one way or the other. Once again, you're welcome to analyze this. I have my co-host ready to fire. We are going to be talking about very important and sensitive issues concerning Ghana and Africa as a whole. As I always say, whatever happens in Ghana, I can bet my paycheck on it that it's happening somewhere in Africa because it's the same people. So no matter where you are from, you can be a part, you can identify with what we're going to discuss. Today, we will be talking about some I am tempted to use the word recklessness, but before I go there, we'll be talking about some violence um, against um, from the security agencies in Ghana. We'll be talking about some volatile situations in Ghana as a whole. We'll be talking about the Boko incident. We'll be talking about, it looks like today's topic, it's all uh, kind of morbid, if I may put it that way, because we'll be talking about some accidents in Ghana as well, road safety as well. But before we start, Prof, just introduce yourself and draw the curtains open so we can set the ball rolling.
My name is Kojo from Pon. I am servant of Afriwick sector. Like my executive director said, we Jojo here, we try to find solutions to the many problems confronting Africa. We don't have answers to everything. That's why we invite dissenting opinions to come and discuss stuff with us. And as usual, my focal point is what kind of society do we want to build? Because the society we live in today, tomorrow is what we are building today. So what kind of society are we building? Thank you.
What kind of society are we building? This leads me to a video I saw this week when I was researching into the Bako incident. I came across a video by, I believe it was a political rally by the NDC and the president, John Mahama, then a candidate. I'm not too sure if it was after the elections or before the elections, talking about um, part of the problems of the issues going on in Boko, um, claiming that it is not just Well, he even said some people think it's a chieftaincy issue, but it's not. It's a political issue. And I was like, whoa. So we know what the issue is. And so I'm beginning to believe that people are using the plight of Ghanaians for their political gains, which is very, very unfortunate. And it's very sad. We saw what happened this past few days when this craziness escalated to even the classrooms, where school kids were pulled out of the classrooms and shot dead. I mean, I am trying to wrap my mind around this craziness, and I still can't get it. With people behaving like animals. And it's I saw one video, I just couldn't watch it, where they're dragging this guy on the ground, the bare ground. And I'm like, where are we heading to as a nation? And people are scoring political points out of the plight of our brothers and sisters up north. And these are people we're supposed to trust to take decisions on our behalf. These are people we're supposed to trust to take care of our future as individuals, as a community, as a family, as a nation. And they are playing politics with the lives of the people. This week, I did a little comment on um, Facebook. Very senior, most brother of mine, very honorable person, wrote something about leadership, and I contributed a little to it, which I would be discussing on our leadership academy. And what I said was, all we need is leadership. That's all we need. All we need is leadership. And I'm not going to explain that here, but if we have leadership, you will value, if you understand leadership. I'm not talking about leaders. You can have leaders who are not executing leadership, but we need leadership. We need people who value the human life. I'm going to link this up with the road networks in Ghana. So when you have leadership, they value human life. And what they do is always thinking of how can we advance the cause of humanity? How can we advance the cause of these people who've entrusted us with power to make decisions on their behalf, on behalf of their children and their children's children. And so we cannot be sitting aloof and allow road networks erode our future gradually by killing our children, killing good citizens of Ghana, killing people, and we sit on aloof and we play politics year after year. They try to upgrade the road to a certain point. When the political season is down, they go back to business as usual. When it's the political season goes up, they come back with their tools, seem to be working. I mean, if this is not lack of leadership, I don't know what it is. This is absolute madness, absolute madness, where people we have entrusted power, our power to, cannot even think about us just a little bit. How come as of now, 2025, there is no proper road network from the southern part of Ghana to the northern part of Ghana? It beats my mind when people come to seek the mandate for them to ascend to the political positions. Don't we have to concern ourselves with some of these things, some of these questions, and hold their feet to the fire so they can be able to fulfill these things? I mean, it's the Accra Kumasi Road. I was talking to somebody this week, and he said somebody might leave Kotoka International Airport and get to Heathrow before you get to Kumasi from Accra.
Indeed.
And I'm like, what kind of madness has the whole nation found itself in this day and time? We live in the animal kingdom as human beings. It's something I really cannot wrap my mind around. I was looking at the statistics as we go along. I'm going to read some statistics of car accidents of the people who've died in Boko and the assault on even journalists by our security agencies. And I don't know if they are trained, if they have some form of training as to how to deal with people. I have no idea if they go through probably that attitude of power needs to be dismantled in the minds of our security agencies. You have no power except for which we, the people, have given to you. That is one thing they have to understand. You have no power except for that of which we have given to you. And it's crazy. I saw GJ's numbers of assaults on journalists just this year. We are halfway through the year, and we're already at number 12. Assault on journalists, which usually happens to be the number for the whole year.
And it is not even an electioneering year.
That's the point.
It goes up during the election cycles, the 4-year election cycle, the penultimate year, and then the actual year in which there is a general election in Ghana. The assaults on journalists really, really skyrocket.
So that's what I really don't understand. Why the assault? Why the assault? Anyway, Prof, come in before I drift into some emotional spaces I don't want to go
Yeah,
to.
just as you've been saying, leadership is everything. All the rest are effects. I've been telling a lot of my colleagues that the Ghana I knew in 1992, when I became of age, I mean, I came out of the O-level system in 1992 in Kumasi. The Ghana I knew then is far better than the Ghana I know today. You see, people will talk about, oh, there has been expansion of the internet, a lot more people coming into the cities. And Ibiaba, like there is an explosion of knowledge or intellect across the board in our societies. But to me, it is just an explosion of information or access to information. When it comes to real life improvements, I beg to differ because the kind of roads we used to drive on, the rate at which our roads are deteriorating as compared to how we fix them or we make new ones is really appalling. Just before I came online, I talked to a friend who left Accra in the morning, took them 9 hours to get to Kumasi. And it was funny to me when you said that when you get off at Kutuka, you get to Heathrow in about
My name is Harriet. And
you get to Kutuka in about 6 hours. You get to Heathrow in about 6 hours. But when you leave Accra, you get to Kumasi in about 7 to 8 hours. A journey that should take 2.5 hours at most, if the roads were in the right condition. And if you make the mistake of trying to leave Accra on a Friday evening to go to Kumasi, just finding a vehicle and being able to move outside of Accra itself might take you the 8 hours. And I personally experienced this when we used to have the radio radio and TV presentation in Accra between 2017 to 2020. So I decided that once I get off around 10 p.m., I'm not going to sleep because it was easier to travel in the night than to travel during the day. So I'll go to the VIP station right after the radio presentation, get on the bus, and get to Kumasi probably by 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Because if I wait until the morning and I get on the road, it took between 6 to 8 hours to get home. So the fish is baited according to its lights. I will continue to say this until the general citizenry gets to the points where they will take only excellence in execution as a yardstick for voting for a particular individual. If mediocrity and promises continue to be what is used as political fodder, as whatever we want to call it, for voting, we will continue to go in cycles. Because the evidence is clear in our face. You made mention that His Excellency, the President, John Mahama, said that these kind of atrocities are not chieftaincy related, they are political. It's been said time and time again that knowing the problem is half the solution. I really believe we know the problem. Every day, the Road Safety Commission comes out with its statistics. At the end of every month, they come out with their statistics and they tell us what is really wrong with us as a society. The AG comes out at the end of every year with the amount of money seeping out of our coffers through corruption that is unaccounted for every year. For the past 10, 20 years, it becomes even difficult listening to them when you know that they will come out with all these problems that they have uncovered, but nothing will be done about plugging the holes or finding solutions to the problem. So you only give yourself high blood pressure by listening to some of these statistics. So until our people understand that It is their responsibility to hold leaderships to accountability. We might keep on going round, round, and round. We are just gong beaters in the square of the village. Our duty is to pinpoint the real information out of the cacophony of this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But at the end of the day, it is the people who listen and take action that will determine the futures of the societies we are trying to live in. Until the people start listening and taking action, we might continue to suffer the consequences of our inaction and our problems, irrespective of the amount of information in the space. Thank you, Nana.
Already until the people take action, we'll just be going around in circles. It's rather unfortunate. And I want to read some information here. Give me a minute. Yeah. So I want to start with the Bako incident. So far, just this year, almost, and these are figures that have, I'm not going to say these are perfect figures. Let me put it that way. Because I want to believe that some of the deaths have not been reported. Some of the killings have not been reported. So as of now, we are hitting about 300 deaths just this year. Why? My question is, why are we playing politics with the lives of innocent people? Look at these kids who were killed, shot, dead. School kids. What have they done to deserve this barbaric act from their fellow human beings? And I don't know if our so-called politicians who are playing politics with the lives of these people look at these numbers and they could go home and look in the eyes of their families and be happy and are able to sleep soundly at night, then I have no idea what kind of a human being or what kind of a person you are. We want to plead. Let's put politics aside. Everything should not be about numbers. Let's value the human lives. It is so critical and so important. And those of us who stay in the long lines to cast our votes to go give our mandate to some of these people, like Prof said, it's about time we began to think twice. It's about time we began to think twice. Let's hold political forums. Let's encourage or let's push for some of these political forums in our neighborhoods, community levels, where we put certain questions before some of these politicians who come to us to ask for power. Because if they have no plan for our future, they don't deserve. Because think about it this way. I'm drifting a little bit into Leadership Academy. Think about it this way. You are planning your life. You need or you want certain things done for yourself, your children, your family, your children's children. That is the idea. And so you're planning your life to achieve certain goals, but you need a certain environment to be able to achieve those goals within. And so you are giving your power to somebody who can create that environment for you to be successful. And so if you are not diligent, if you are not careful, if you're not particular, put aside all the emotional sentiments. This is a party of my father's, or this is a party of my mother's. This is a party of my tribe. This is a party. Is these Are these things going to help you achieve that dream? Are these things going to help you fulfill your purpose? This is what I want you to begin to think about. I know we're not within the election year yet, but start thinking about some of these things. It shouldn't be business as usual when these politicians come to you to trick you for your power. You have no idea how powerful you are. So you are giving the power of your future to an individual whose ideology lines up with your ideology. That is what democracy is about. Democracy is not about the people in power. Democracy is about you, we, the individuals. Democracy is about us. So when I hear people saying, "Oh, this democracy is not for us," it's a Western. I tell myself, you have no idea. You don't understand what democracy is. Democracy is a human institution. It is not a Western idea. It is not secluded to a certain group of people. Democracy is a human idea of living in a harmonious society that will help push or bring about progress to humanity. That is what democracy is. So it is you. Democracy evolves around the individual, the people. It does not evolve around the politicians or those in power. Democracy is you. If democracy is not thinking about you, or if there's any system which is not thinking about you, which is not factoring you into the equation, that is not democracy. I bunch all of them as one of these junta regimes. That's what it is. I don't care if you go to the ballot box every 4 years to vote. I don't care if you have parliament or you have Congress or you have a House of Lords or whatever. If that system is not progressing you as an individual, if it is not progressing the community, if it is not progressing the society in which you find yourself in, it is not democracy. So please, let us begin to think. Let us begin to think. And when it's time for us to make decisions, let's encourage our politicians to come to the community, engage the community. Let's have community discussions, community debates, or whatever you call it. Town halls. Let the people in that town, in that community, come together, query them, question them what they are doing with your power. It is your right as an individual, because it's just like you have given your money to somebody to go work with your money and come back and account to you what the person has done with your money. That's all it is. This whole thing about voting, that's what it is. I think that's the simplest way for me to break it down. You are giving your money to the politicians to go work with your money and bring back results, profit. And so it is your right to demand for accountability. It is your right to ask questions that will push them to think. If we don't, we find ourselves to be blamed. So as Prof said, what kind of society do we want to live in? So please, I want to plead with especially the youth. Don't go on social media and be following unnecessary things. Go on social media and acquire knowledge. Go on social media and equip yourself so you can be able to know what your rights are and question some of these people who come to you and beg for your money to go work. So please, 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 especially to the youth, democracy should be about the development of the community. It's we. That is why most of the democratic constitutions all over the world, think about it. Why do they start with we the people? Do you know why they start with we the people? It tells you democracy is about the people. It's not about those who are coming to beg for your power. It's about we the people. That is why most constitutions in the world starts with we the people. So please, let's be vigilant. Let's be diligent. Let's not follow blindly. Because where the nation is going and the continent is going, it's not something we can sing about. It's not something beautiful comparing to the potential of the nation and the continent, Africa as a whole. We haven't even started yet. So please, please, I want to plead. Let's begin to get involved. Let us not sit aloof, because it's your money being wasted. It's your power. It's your time. It's your future being wasted by some unintelligent people. There's some dangerous people in our society. As I always say, the most dangerous person in the society is the highly schooled, uneducated person with power. I want to repeat, the most dangerous person in society is the highly schooled, uneducated person with power. And that is what we have in our communities. That is what we have in our political spaces. Let's open our eyes wide and be diligent in who we choose as our politicians and those to manage the affairs of our nations. Prof.
Yeah, the biggest problem I see is that we have decoupled our actions from our consequences. Everything that we are talking about, people just go and vote based on certain things, certain criteria, without really connecting their vote to the outcome of the conditions within their society. And then some people also move away from participating in the democracy or in the governance of their society because they don't see the benefit of doing this. Whichever way you look at it, there are consequences for the actions that we do take. And until our people couple their participation in, that's why it is called participatory democracy. You are not what do we call it? You are not just a useless agent within the equation. Your vote actually must count. And the only time your vote counts is when you question the validity of your own vote. Why am I voting for this guy? Why am I voting for this particular party at this point? Not some rote decision to just go out there and vote. Because our politicians really know, or they know the problem. If they don't even understand it, they know the problem. And they are using it against us. How is it that after 50 something years of independence, the biggest and the most important trade routes within our communities are not even created, let alone made right. If you want to go to Takoradi, which is one of the most important shipping ports in our country, you will cry for the roads to Takoradi. You can say the same thing about Kumasi to Tamale, where almost all our staples in terms of millets, maize, whatever, is coming from. Try to go to Takwa. Try to go to Obuasi. In 2022, I was shocked how bad the roads in Obuasi is. And it's supposed to be the richest gold mine in the whole of Africa. Nana, until our people can connect their vote to the performance of the political elite, we will continue to have these kinds of problems. And if the president understands that the mayhem going on in Boko is not strictly chieftaincy related, and that there are political undertones to the issues, then why can't we find a solution to these people? Why should young, able-bodied men and women in their teens be dragged out of their classrooms and executed in the name of politics, or even in the name of whatever you want to call it? So please, it is not happening to you today, but you don't know what tomorrow brings. The spate of armed robberies, preventable. The spate of road accidents, preventable. If you see, you talk about a progressive society in that it sees a problem and makes move to eliminate the problem progressively. As we go along, we tend to see a much better, more cohesive society as we move along. We should not be going backwards. And that's my problem. If the roads in Ghana, maybe there were not that many, but if the roads in Ghana in 1990 were better than they are in 2024, there is a problem. There is a problem. And we need to talk more about this.
Yeah. So let me read this real quick. All right. I just summed up the Boko because the details of what it's here probably would not give me the concentration to continue the program if I have to read all of that. So it says from January to February 2025, National Road Safety in Ghana, provisional data. It says fatalities, 498 deaths recorded in just 2 months. In just 2 months, from January to February. That is 35% increase from 359 deaths during the same period in 2024. So just like Prof said, if it's not, you're not progressing from worse to good to better, then what kind of society are you developing? Because this is worse, which means we're doing worse than we did last year. And it goes on to say accidents. It talks about accidents. 2,456 accidents were recorded involving 4,172 vehicles. Injuries, approximately 2,927 people injured. It's up by 14.7% as compared to the same time last year. And when you come to January to March, we have 3,674 road crashes reported. And again, it is up from 3,405 in the same time last year, 2024. 752 deaths in total. Again, 23%, 23.5% increase from 609 in the same quarter of the previous year. So where are we going as a nation? Where are we going as a nation? So January to June, we've had 12,354 accidents or cars involving in accidents. 1,504 people dead. 8,364 people injured. So these are staggering. It goes on to talk about Eastern region, 2,494 deaths out of 13,489 crashes, 15,607 injured. Western region, these are 2024 figures. Fatalities rose from 120 in 2023 to 187 in 2024, an increase of 55.8% across 743 crashes. And then let me read the conclusion because it's a lot. I just want to, is that historically, Ghana has averaged about 4 road deaths per day. 1,600 annually, with economic losses estimated at 1.7% of GDP, which is $230 million. So it's talking about per day. And so my question is, if these politicians have these information, so why do they even vie for the offices if they're not ready to do the work? Because if I were to be the minister of roads and highways and I get this data, immediately I would have to move into action. Immediately you have to move into action. If you are the president and you are briefed on this, and this data has been presented to you, and at the end of your tenure of office, you don't seem to see a reduction in the deaths of people during your reign, and you want to tell me you've been successful? You've been successful in what? If people are dying on the roads, because roads, simple roads cannot be constructed. Yes, I said simple roads, because if they tell you the amount of money that is being siphoned from the country or from the coffers of the state every year, annually, And I'm gonna bring those figures in the next discussion. The amount of money being siphoned every year. When I saw the figures, I was like, what is going on? It can build roads, it can build schools, it can build hospitals, and we should not be in this state. In this state, we don't deserve to be here because we have too much to be somewhere else and not here. So looking at these figures and the road accidents, I remember when Ebony died from a heap of sand, which is basically or practically taking half of the road, the major road. About a month or so, a blogger went to the site and showed us the same heap of sand. And I'm like, this just killed somebody about a month ago.
And it wasn't the first time it had killed somebody. It killed a chief, I think 6 or so months before Ebony died.
Ebony's accident.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying progressive society, regressive society. We are not even reactive. Progressive societies, the greatest thing about progressive society is that they even try to prevent stuff from happening. Okay? They try to preempt certain things that they can foresee. But since nobody is clairvoyant, they are very reactive. After the fact, they will put legislation in place to make sure it doesn't happen again, or it doesn't happen as repeatedly as it does. We are not even reactive, which is the bottom line. If we even want to stay static. I don't know if you remember when we were in secondary school, there was this thing called bone shaker.
Yeah.
It had no back. There were just benches in the middle of the vehicle, and you just sit upright in them. I used to take these bone shakers from Kumasi to Samara Boy to Ajom, a journey of about 10 hours. And you will fall asleep. And you might fall back or forward onto the person in front of you. Now, the research came out that when there is an accident, it's not really the accident that killed the people. It is people hitting each other. And that's why they outlawed that kind of vehicle for passengers and had to bring in like individual seats with a back. I consider that as a progressive move. Now, if you look at the statistics of the casualties of our road accident, nobody should tell you that the reason why so many people are being killed and maimed is because most of our highways are single lane highways. And because of that, the accidents are head-on collisions. If you and I know this, where is the leadership? Head-on collisions is the reason why our people are being maimed and killed. Head-on collisions. Even if you want to make our highways single lanes, why don't you leave a big chunk of earth in the middle to prevent head-on collisions? This is not rocket science. This is not. Most of these head-on collisions come about because somebody is trying to overtake somebody and he veers into the next lane, which is oncoming traffic. Like you said, if you look at the AG's report on monies they cannot account for each year, just last year, they are saying that you see the interchange, the new interchange on the Kumasi Accra Road at they are saying that the amount of money they cannot account for can build about 6 of those interchanges in every region. We have 16 regions now. So 6 times 16 in 1 year. 1 year. So if our people are not seeing, they are not seeing this, why are they not seeing this? The latest video I watched on the road accidents and why it is killing so many people in Ghana, the Road Safety Commission is saying that they are not funded. So it means that the accidents and the maiming and the death, it is not important to us. The Road Safety Commission is not being funded. So they can't even go on TV and radio and talk to drivers. And I don't even want to go into how we give driver's licenses to people, how we monitor them, how the police are taking bribes instead of making sure these vehicles are fixed or what. I am not going into it. We have created a whole commission on safety and we are refusing to fund them, but we are giving salaries to these commissioners and they are just sitting there because they don't have the resources to go on air and educate our people. Bottom line, this is not important to us as a people. So the over 12,000 collisions that have happened in the first half of the year, the over 8,000 people who have died, the over 20,000 people who have been maimed, we do not care. That is the bottom line. We don't care. We simply don't give a damn. We just come and wail and talk. When I was listening to the Road Safety Commission guy, I was shocked. He's saying that all these billboards, big, huge billboards on our roads that obscure driving needs to be removed. I've seen a billboard for 31st December 2020 on our highway from Accra to Kumasi in 2024, when I went back home. The billboard is for a 31st December watch night in 2020. And 4 years after the fact, it is still standing there on the highway, obscuring vision. So, Nana, I want to go back to what I said. Until the decoupling of our actions that we have to our consequences that we have done, until we couple them again and know that these are the things that we are doing, and that's the reason why we are having this result. Until we do that, me and you, so many other well-meaning Africans will go online and talk about the problems that we're having and the solutions. But until we couple our actions to our consequences and the results that we are having, they are not magical, they are not a fluke, they are very, very consistent, and they are increasing as the years go by until it's called stupidity. Somebody says that if you want to define insanity, it is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I am not at all surprised by the mayhem on our roads because we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing. Remember, just before the elections, the Department or Commission for Civic Education came out saying that they have not been funded for years to go out there and educate our people about their responsibilities as citizens when it comes to voting. Why are we surprised that people are voting based on 5 CDs that have been given to them, or based on the fact that I am an Asante, or I am from Wa, or I am from Accra, and this is my father's party. Why are we surprised? It is the same mantra going through all our departments and our commissions. Okay? They are not being funded. And if they are not being funded, they cannot effectively do their jobs. And if they are not doing their jobs effectively, they are redundant. Why are we paying salaries for these people to be in the office, and at the end of every month, they come and tell us 2,000 people died? It could have been prevented if there were no billboards on our roads. It could have been prevented if the drivers had been trained how to overtake. It could have been prevented if we've done this and this and that. We are actually preaching to the gallery. And until we take action, we're just talking. Like I said, we are gun beaters. Our responsibility is to beat the gun, but it is the responsibility of the citizenry to listen and take action.
All right, thank you so much. It is the responsibility of the citizenry to listen and take action. On this note, we'll continue this discussion next week, same time. We encourage you to share this broadcast and invite other people to be a part of it, so we all can equip ourselves, and together we'll change our communities and our society at large. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Africa International Organization and Sector Leadership International, and my co-hosts.
I'm Kojo Wafrimpon of the same said organizations.
On that note, we'll catch you on the flip side. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nana.